going on, guys? Today I'm doing another highly requested video. That is how to whip. I'm gonna try to break it down and make it super easy to understand. Try to make it as simple as possible for you guys to go out and go to your local track and try to, progress with your whips. Got a nice, probably, this thing's 100 foot. It's a little bit bigger than a jump you'd find at your local track, but it's gonna give me enough airtime to kind of slow things down and explain how I do this. So this is usually how I would start my day off, no matter what. Even though I've hit these jumps 1,000 times probably by now, I'm still gonna take the first couple hits to just get warmed up, get my mind thinking, get my heart rate up a little bit. Obviously, if you're at the track, you're probably doing motos or you're probably out like just riding. So your heart rate, you'll be warmed up before you even start whipping. I'm just gonna explain the process that I would go through on a normal day for me. Okay, I've got a nice landing here, nice and steep. The steeper the landing is, the easier it is on your body, but you don't want to go too steep to where you have to time it perfect to get it, if that makes sense. But a nice tall, decently steep, probably like 25 to 30 degrees is what I would call like the prime angle. Obviously, it's a lot of dirt to move to have something like this if you do plan on building a jump. But I'm just giving you guys the details on what I do. Okay, now that you're comfortable hitting the jump, now the carving process starts. I'm gonna do it right here, but I'll slow it down and kind of explain what goes on. Essentially, you're gonna wanna carve, since I whip to what I call the right because my right hand's going down and I'm leaning to the right, I call it the right. But when I whip to the right, I almost start by carving to the left and going like that super quick up the jump face. Okay, as you can see, I'm approaching the lip, turning almost the opposite way that I'm planning on whipping. About halfway up the face of the jump, I do a quick little carve, and that throws the rear end of the bike into a gyro. Not a super exaggerated move, but if you get it right, it kind of forces the gyro of the bike to want to naturally start a whip. Okay, so after you got the carving motion down and you're pretty comfortable with getting the bike to kind of just naturally do a little whip on its own, you're going to want to incorporate a lean. Again, I'll slow it down to show you guys what I mean. In the previous tutorial, I wasn't really dropping my head or my shoulder, and that was kind of limiting the whip. So what I'm about to do is I'm gonna set up, carve up the lip, and once I leave the lip of the jump, I'm gonna almost drop my shoulder and kind of, not like drop my head, but I tilt my head a little bit. And what that does is that just exaggerates the lean a little bit and gives you more lean angle to get underneath the motorcycle. Instead of just getting it sideways, you can get underneath, which creates the big whip effect. This isn't the greatest angle, it's a little blurry, but you still can see I'm dropping my right shoulder, dropping the head, not really tilting it, but I'm kind of just keeping it level with the bars, and that allows me to get underneath the bike a little bit better. That part right there probably took me the longest to get used to because you don't keep your head level. It's a little bit easier, and it's mainly like a human trait to want to like keep your head level and keep it still no matter what you're doing in life. But what I do is I tilt the head a little bit, and it'll take you a while to get used to the angle. It makes you feel like you're gonna almost do a barrel roll, which I promise you, you're not gonna do a barrel roll, but it kind of feels like that. But that process definitely took me the longest. Now what we're gonna wanna incorporate is what I call the kick. It's basically like take your legs from a bent position and you kick them. It's basically like I said in the previous tutorial, you're jumping backwards, or the best way to describe it is like if you're at the gym and you're on a rowing machine. You wanna kick your legs and pull the bars at the same time. And when you pull your bars, you kind of pull your bars down like to the right, or I mean, it depends on which way you're going, but I would pull them to the right and I'd kick my feet out. And that creates that big like extended whip effect. That's like the peak of your whip. I'll slow it down again. I have somewhere on the slow-mo camera and explain it a little bit more in depth. Okay, this isn't the perfect example. I think the onboard camera did better justice. At the peak of the whip, I'm kind of pulling the bars back, kicking my legs out, just like a rowing motion.
Okay, now that we've got like 80% of the whip, now I'm gonna talk about how to bring it back from that whip. After you get your legs kicked out, you're fully, you know, you're at the peak of your whip, all you're gonna wanna do, it's basically the same motion as like picking the bike up off the ground. You spot where you wanna land, you keep your eyes on that, and you just kind of bring the bike back. Your legs will naturally follow, and you're gonna land where your eyes are. Wherever your head goes, that's where you go. At least that's kind of my rule of thumb. So you spot your landing, like you're fully kicked out, and you just kind of do one of these. Point your eyes where you wanna land, your shoulders will follow your head. All you're gonna wanna do is basically just straighten the bike out. The rear end of the bike will straighten itself out. 1 from the gyro and 2 from you bringing it back. Pretty basic, it just takes lots of repetition. But we'll do a complete whip right here and I'll show you.
So we'll start from the beginning. You can see I leave the lip, I already did my carve, dropping the shoulder, tilting the head a little bit. Right here, I'm kicking the feet out, and now I'm spotting my landing, bringing my shoulders around, picking the bike up, or picking the bars up, and landing smoothly.
There you go, you got yourself a pretty decent looking whip. Obviously there's levels to it. You can get more inverted, you can lean a lot harder, you can pull a lot harder, but it's all basically the same motion. And even though I'm on the Stark, which yes, the Stark is a lot easier for whips, but even though I'm on the Stark, it's the same exact motions for a 450. Same exact feeling, everything's basically identical. I just choose the Stark for whips because of the 1, electric torque, which allows me to get under it a little bit quicker than on a 450, and 2, the ability to adjust everything. Even though yes, this is heavier, I believe it's 20 pounds heavier than a 450, it's still easier to bring back because of how fast the rear wheel is spinning, which helps the gyro of the whip, which allows you to get it to more extreme angles and bring it back easier. But it is the same exact motions for a regular combustion engine.
Okay, there you guys have it. There's my updated whip tutorial. Really the only thing different from my previous tutorial is I'm starting to lean the head a little bit, kind of drop the shoulder. It's a new technique that's kind of helped me unlock like the next level with whips. Obviously, I didn't really do anything too crazy in this video because I want to keep it more relatable for you guys. For someone just kind of looking to learn a little bit more and figure out what they're doing, you know, kind of how we get to the point where we're at, this is exactly what I do. I just kind of repeat this process over and over and over again until it's drilled into my head. And it's the same for the other way. If you want to go the other way, it's the same exact process. I know there are some, you know, little tricks that people do. Like I know Tyler Berryman he goes the opposite way of me. He hooks his foot under the shifter, and that kind of helps him stay on the bike a little bit more and get a little bit more of an aggressive lean and kind of throw it around and kick his feet out a little bit harder. But it's all basically the same, you know, little details like that are up to the rider and up to, you know, you feeling comfortable. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. It does help me. I know I say it in every video, and so does every other YouTuber, but it does help me. If you find this video useful, comment down below what you thought about it, what you think I could improve on. Always open ears. I'm gonna be reading and responding to every comment I see as well. But until next video, I will catch you guys later.